Hello, sir. Good afternoon, sir. I'm Dr. Vishal. I host a page on Instagram that is Health with PG. We all have been watching your videos since our MBBS days to learn medicine, and it has been dream since then to meet you personally, but pleasure for me to meet you even virtually. So, sir, today,
So
as you know,
for me.
PrepLadder has given us this chance to have an on-one discussion about a lot of students need super specialty question. As you know, nowadays, doing super specialty has become a trend, and it has has created some impact also, and important, it's so important. So I just wanted to your view on this topic, sir, that does everyone should do need super specialty? What is your take on this, sir?
I'll put or give the answer in 2 points. One, I
Okay.
think let's be practical, that Indian economy is growing and people are using Google to search for a doctor. So adding more feathers to the cap, right? I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
the bigger your hat is, more attractive it is. I think that would be worth the grind. And I
Yes.
think for all the good things in life, one has to jump through the ring of fire. But I think the end is worth it. So that would
Yes.
be part one. Why? The question is, why are we doing it?
Yes,
And
sir.
second, I would like to highlight that at PrepLadder NEET SS team, when we had this meeting, we did a lot of brainstorming about a medicine resident who has come back from his duty, who's totally tired at the end of the day. His feet are hurting, his back is sore, and his brain is super saturated with all the cacophony and all the things that he had to do. So would he be able to handle bombarding of further data? I mean, I know that doctors are super motivated. They come back from a duty, they'll still be able to handle, maybe video lectures and prepare for NEET SS. But then we had everything in our mind that, okay, this is going to be the physical frame of mind and a mental frame of mind of a resident when he gets back. And then would he be in that frame of mind to listen to somebody who would be, maybe super expert and extraordinarily brilliant at his work, but if he's going to read out a PPT and underline a couple of points there, then would the person be motivated enough to be able to complete it? So that is where we did a lot of, I would say, research, and we came up with a format which will make a doctor who's come back from a duty learn all the facts that we have taught in this program. I mean, we crafted the videos in such a fashion that the data flows step by step into your brain, and that helps you assimilate more. So I think it's a two-step approach. First, we should know why are we doing it, and then we are going to know how are we going to do it. So I think on the combination of these two, why and how are we going to do it in a step-by-step approach, our brain, I mean, because it's super saturated already, so we need to assimilate much more data. So I think a combination of the two, why and then how are we going to do it, that would be the initial approach. And I think this would be my perspective or my take on it. So I would not say that it is like the only way to go about it. I have a lot of students, I've been teaching for almost 20 years, who have right after, after completing the undergraduation, they said, Ki, I don't want to study anything further. I just want to go back to my tier 3 town and I want to become a king there, right? So, I mean, it's up to us whether we want to flourish in a tier 3 town as a king. I mean, you are going to be a king there because people are
Yes.
going to come to you by your name. On the other hand, like if you want to practice in tier 1 city, it's going to be a corporate setup. You're going to get a package. You would have the hassle of running a hospital. But at the same time, people would not come to you by your name. They would come to by the corporate hospital's name. And corporate hospital will always look for that feathers in the cap, as I was saying. So that improves your employment potential. So I think that's my take on this, that why and how are we going to do it?
Yes, sir. And means many of the students are passionate since childhood. For example, someone wants to be neurologist since the beginning and all. So I think that's the other group which do the super specialty. Yes, sir. So very elaborative answer. Thank you so much for this. So my second question is, sir, as now I've decided that I'll be obviously doing super specialty. I'm doing residency, but what is exactly the correct time then when I should start preparing for it? Because as you know, in the first year of the residency, we barely get time to even sleep. So at that time, it's really difficult to study. But from the second and third year, we might get time. So what's your take on that? How should we approach study in our residency, sir?
I think that start with Harrison, start with Washington Manual, and try to build up your concepts, because in 1 year we get rusted. You see, once we clear our NEET PG entrance exam, we are brimming with a lot of knowledge. I mean, it's literally spilling over out of our brain because we know all the 90 subjects very thoroughly.
Yes,
By
sir.
1 year of masterly inactivity. What I mean by masterly inactivity is when it comes to MCQ solving, our skills almost become very rusted, and the same data starts looking like, oh my God, how I'm gonna remember it? And we tend to, then get into much more specialization. I mean, we are gonna be more focusing on, how to give biologicals to a patient, right? We would be more focusing on I would say, like, if somebody is going into neurology, he'll be more into endovascular therapy. He would be trying to learn regarding, okay, what are the nitty-gritties of solitaire versus mercy versus various other procedures that were historically relevant. So we tend to go into so much of detail that the superficial or the initial data is neglected by us, and that is what they're doing in this NEET SS. So though I think we can, have a whole day discussion regarding that, okay, the pattern of NEET SS keeps on changing, and every year the MCQs are going to be different from what they came earlier, and he's going to pick it line by line from Harrison and going to make it. I mean, we can fret and fume about it the whole day, but then at the outset, the final answer to whatever you said as a summary would be from second year onwards, starting with Harrison and Washington Manual would be the initial baby steps that you need to get your rusty machinery, get into that super aggressive mode once again.
Yes. And so my next question would be, at this particular phase in residency, should we go on to watch some video lectures from PrepLadder to just strengthen our concepts whenever we get time? Then can I prefer PrepLadder video lectures somewhat when I get time, for example, like that?
See, what I'll say is that when you have to read a book at font size 6 or 8, and you have already done a 24-hour duty, the video lectures are based on the textbook only. But then, as I was saying, when a resident comes back, he would be mentally so exhausted that to read a book, it would take a lot of, I would say, time. So if you have somebody who would be telling you the core concepts in a more not actually reading of a PPT, I would say, or not just, telling you the same point of the PPT in a different way, but rather than, letting the data flow gradually and you building up your concept, then I think this would be a wise approach. I would say that books are a gold standard. I mean, a doctor's wiseness is based on his ability to read as much of data crunching he can do. We are all, like you said, right? We are from our childhood only, we are hungry for knowledge, and we keep on grabbing so much of data. But then the point is, there is a limit to how much your neurons can assimilate, and in a limited time frame, we need to have I would say good to have a guidance available right in your phone, because this is an era of technology where this would help you in, I would say, shorten the incubation period with respect to your preparation, because obviously this is a long runway. This is a long, I mean, before you take off, right, your runway is really, really long. So the objective of our entire intense discussions that we had at PrepLadder NEET SS meetings was that how can we shorten this runway to allow this supercharged, super intelligent individual who's doing a medicine residency to take off and go about his job subsequently.
Yes, sir. It's like those who are busy in residency, those obviously will not get time to read book thoroughly. But yes, we should prefer book first. But even if they watch video lectures, if possible, because it's interactive learning, they'll not feel like they are doing a lot of work in it. And also they can prefer the notes prepared by PrepLadder team, so that it will feel like they are just reading the book and they can just highlight the book later words after seeing the lecture, which will be easier stuff for them. So that's the other aspect, sir. But sir, I just wanted to ask one question, which has been asked by a lot of students and a lot of my subscribers. That, sir, should we or how should we finalize our choice of subject? For example, even if somebody is interested in neurology, gastroenterology, how could they choose it? A lot of guys are confused. That even I was confused, because as a medicine person, we love medicine in every way, in all possible way, because it's because of you all teachers also that all these concepts are so crystal clear in all these subjects, all these specialities, that we feel like we can do all of this. But at the certain point, when we have to decide that yes, I want to do specialty, super specialty in this particular subject, it becomes really difficult. And a lot of students are in dilemma because of this. How would you suggest that we can choose this particular branch for us?
Well, again, I would like to divide the answer into two parts. One is the ruthless answer, which is that it depends on rank, because we might be aspiring for everything, but then the competition is so hard that the rank would decide it. The second part of my answer would be like, first of all, we need to think that 15 years from today, would I be, preferring to wake up at 2 a.m. in the morning on an emergency call? Because there are certain fields like cardiology, And obviously in interventional neurology as well, you will have to wake up in the middle of the night and go. So at this moment, because you are like on, I would say literally we are on steroids. We are literally all pumped up, we are operating on adrenaline and steroids, I would say a combination of the two. But then 15 years from now, the effect tends to wear off. So you need to first think that would you be like to rudely be awakened at 2 a.m. in the morning, because there are certain branches where you will have to do that. That's one. Then personal interest will obviously matter. And then I think lastly, financial benefits. I mean, that's a very, very important thing. Like I said right in the beginning, that financial benefits of certain branches which are having less competition would matter more. You see, if I go to any city anywhere in India, now you will notice gradually cath labs coming up in tier 2 and tier 3 cities as well. So, I mean, people are making good amount of money there because they wanted to learn. So I think it's a personal decision, but at the same time, this personal decision at the same time should be guided by that. Are you gonna be the same guy on steroids? You gonna be the same guy on adrenaline who would like to be woken up at 2 a.m. in the morning, or would you like to take it easy? Because that would really, really matter. And the final obviously is gonna be the rank that we score.
Yes, sir. The next question is, how could we utilize PrepLadder's resources, for example, video lectures, then question bank, grant test, and notes in the best possible way in second and third year, or even if we take a year drop for super specialty preparation? So how should we approach all of these four things? That's the next question.
See, we have based these conceptual video lectures on primarily Harrison. There are obviously a lot of other books that we have taken into consideration, whether it's going to be Brown World Cardiology, whether it's going to be, other books as well, the bigger ones, whether it's going to be Adams in neurology. The point is those conceptual video lectures, we try to help you understand the concepts, especially those crucial topics. Let me just give you a, just to set a ballpark example. Let's take up that table in Harrison where all the anti-epilepsy drugs are given in 2 pages, right? There's a cross-section table, name of the drug, and then there's sort of side effects that are given. And there's always a question from that, whether you like it or whether you don't like it. Now, if you have to read it by yourself, it will become a little more, I would say, overwhelming because it's only facts, right? There are no concepts in that. Still, they had 2 questions from this in NEET PG 2023 with respect to side effect of anti-epileptic drugs. And obviously, they were a bit of controversies and not get into the specifics of those questions. But then if you have to read that 2 pages by yourself versus somebody trying to tell you, form of I would say either a story or maybe, telling you from his personal experience with respect to drugs, a prescription, that would be much more easier for you to assimilate. Let's take up another table, limb girdle muscular dystrophy, LGMD, all the subtypes that are given. I mean, it's on a huge extensive table. How do you remember all those genes that they love to ask about? How do you remember the chromosomes? So there has to be some methodology. And all I can say is what I'm saying at the moment is not as a doctor, but as a teacher, right? A teacher's objective is to simplify things for a student. So I am here in this podcast, not as I would say, I mean, obviously I am a doctor, so I am proud of that. But at the same time, my primary role now is a teacher who would have to help a student assimilate the facts. So I have to make it simpler. I have to tell those hacks how to remember this information. So that's what we have tried to focus into the conceptual video lectures. And now the PrepLadder NEET SS plan is available free of cost till 5th of January. I mean, it's a free trial that's going on. So you can go through that. It's not that I'm just asking you that I've said that's something very great data. Try and listen to those video lectures. And if you find something beneficial, then yep, I mean, you can go ahead subsequently. Then the QBank part is obviously the most important one. I took a lot of interviews for students who cleared, and I mean, I would say I'm blessed with having my students come on and interact with me. I was recently taking an interview of a couple of students who actually attended my UG classes in Bhubaneswar when they were preparing for NEET PG. Then they did their medicine residency, and now they got into super speciality. So what they were telling me was that a lot of this data that is being asked in the exam is actually of a NEET PG level as compared to NEET SS level, because at NEET SS we expect a clinical question with very close differentials, and then you are looking at the key pointers, and then we expect, okay, I mean, in any SS it's a totally different ball game as compared to NEET SS. So let's say whatever is the pattern, we need to actually go ahead and crack the pattern, whatever he's asking. So the QBank of the current QBank in PrepLadder gives you the necessary analytical skills to come and solve those questions which are having very close options. Then we have very good crafted notes as well that help you for quick revision, because I would say last 1 month before the exam, like this time the exam was postponed by 20 days. And a lot of guys, I think they got a super benefit from that. But then in those 20 days, if you have to revise so many systems, then you need some a booklet where that, okay, you're going to go through it and you're going to assimilate a lot of data. So that's where the PrepLadder notes come in. And I would say giving mock tests of that everybody does. I don't need to say, but yeah, of all platforms would be beneficial. That helps you analyze it, because sometimes you get used to, the pattern of a particular platform or the look of the software. So when you are going to change the software, because there's so many variables, right, that decide your MCQ performance. So the more vast you are, I think that would really help you. Go ahead. But then this was my genuine take on interviewing all the students who have used PrepLadder and have been able to crack the exam with great ranks.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for such elaborate answer, sir. I hope that everyone's doubt about how to utilize the resources would have been solved by this question. So the next question is actually personal for me. Sir, as you know, in the residency, a lot of guys get committed, a lot of guys get married and all. And along with that, it's really difficult to manage studies. So, and certain times it's difficult to manage to watch videos as well. But at that time, if somebody is preferring PrepLadder notes, or if we are having some sort of notes, and should we just rely on question bank, which is made by PrepLadder, or any sources that will give us the crisp concepts of each of the questions from Harrison's, which will actually cover all the textbooks?
Yeah, we have created those one-liner questions in that particular fashion that it helps you go in a retrospective fashion. So if we are into, because we'll be involved in so many things as we are growing, if you are having a good quality Q bank with PrepLadder as is providing, and if you're going to use it exhaustively, the retrospective way of study is still going to help you. Because see, after all, my personal take would be that if you have to prepare for any exam, it's not like for only a NEET SS exam, whether it's NEET PG, whether it's a NEET UG exam, you need to check out the pattern, right? There is no point of fighting with the system and say, okay, they did not ask stroke localization, or they did not ask a particular, they did not get into Brugada syndrome and I'd read about it. I mean, we can go on and on regarding, okay, I learned Wellen syndrome in Brugada and they did not ask a damn about it. And then they started asking some other random facts. So if you're going to use the Q bank and go retrospectively, you are going to get an insight into that, what the examiner is thinking the current pattern is, and that would help you fine tune your resources. And lots of time you may not have read a topic, but still you'll be able to solve an MCQ and based on your exclusion skills. All I'm saying is, man, you have those skills in you. They're a bit rusted because of this 1 year of intensive hard work, 1.5 year of intensive hard work that you guys have to do. Maybe post-COVID batch, they had to do 2 years. So, I mean, that's where the system gets a little slow. And if you use the PrepLadder Q bank, you will be in that, I would say, the ACE mode.
Yes. Thank you so much for this. Actually, it has really helped me, because I was using question bank for the NEET PG, which was made by you. I've been watching those videos only even for this NEET super specialty. I'm lucky that I'm having this opportunity. I'm again saying that because I'm really overwhelmed with my emotions. So next question is for me, that how should one go for, means like all these grant tests and all these question banks? What should we weigh more at this end of the period? Like just 10 days are remaining for me. Should I go and revising this question bank, whatever mistakes I've done or whatever bookmarks I've done, or should I just solve mock test and revise those only, or it should be balanced?
Yeah, it's a balanced approach actually, because one size would not fit all. But yeah, the bookmarks are the most critical ones that need to be focused on. And then in the end, the pressure cooker situation as is uniform for any particular exam. There's a limit to how much you can study, and learning new facts would not be possible. It will become too overwhelming. The anxiety part would come in. So I think it would be better to take a balanced approach the last 10 days and take it relatively easy and not be harsh on self and try to do too much.
Yes, sir. So one more question, sir. How do we formulate the mock test? Means like if we are giving mock test, most of the time it happens that all the questions when the mock test comes in the exam, it's like the concepts are actually repeated. So I just wanted to know that should we trust it more, or like what is the source of this test, sir?
Well, we are using all the standard textbooks, but obviously, I mean, the super specialty textbooks obviously matter, no doubt about it. But see, those questions which would be from journals, questions which would be from the latest research-based studies are going to be a fraction of the actual exam. Let's focus on that chunky, juicy material that we can solve and handle as compared to focusing on the rare data. So I think using mock tests in QBank would really help you prepare, and try doing it on a regular basis, and you'll yourself feel the differences. So we have used adaptation of resources, Harrison, John F. Halley, Braunwald, and lots of other things. But then the point is, would that chunky material really help, or would that laser focused precise approach that works? So I think what we've tried to do at PrepLadder NEET SS, as a teacher, what I've tried to focus is develop content which is going to be laser sharp. That would be a bit of an exaggeration, but try to assimilate and then make data which is more precise, which has a higher strike rate and can be retained by an individual as well. I mean, there's no point of bombarding you with 10 different facts and not having a conclusion, rather than giving you a conclusion or an end point and then go retrospectively and let you know that, okay, how did these conclusions come into picture?
Yes, sir. I've gone through the notes and all the videos in the PrepLadder as well. Like it was, when I read Harrison, like a few days back, a few months back, because I am not in touch currently because of duties and all. But I could just reflect that yes, this is from this book. Yeah, it was given like that. So I really feel confident, and I think even though maybe if I'm preparing for the NEET SS now in the next year, I will be obviously reading those notes only. So thank you so much for this answer. My last question would be, sir, how would you summarize that from the initial phase, like in the entrance to the residency, for just getting into a good branch in super specialty or branch of our choice? What should be our approach? Just a summary, sir.
Point number one would be to find time. First of all, find time to sleep so that your neurons get charged. Then start writing down, maintain a journal in which you start noting down those topics that you would like to focus on. And how do you decide which topics to focus on? Go through the questions in the PrepLadder app. It is, again, it's a free access till the 5th of January. So when you go through that QBank, you will realize that there were some questions with very closely worded options, and they are the ones that need to be, those are the topics that we need to focus on, right? I mean, we read a topic and then we say, okay, that I've read this, but still I'm not being able to solve a question. You might be, you see, in clinical practice, because, lots of time we have, I would say, a plethora of investigations available. We are able to nail down a diagnosis and we are able to treat a patient, or we might be able to partially treat a patient. The complete relief may not be obtained for a particular condition, but in the exam, it's a totally different ballgame. Right? MCQs are a totally different ballgame as compared to a real clinical practice. Two cannot be equated. One cannot say that, okay, I'm a very good clinician and I'll be able to solve MCQs. Similarly, a guy who's good at MCQs may not be a very good clinician. So trying to mix up the two creates a too much of mishmash. I would suggest to keep the two things separate. MCQ solving skill is a totally different ballgame. Try to focus on the core issues that are available with you, the resources that are currently available. If you optimally utilize it, and then we try to be good at both the things. I mean, I would say if a person can be an average clinician and an average at solving MCQs, his life is going to be much more simpler. Otherwise, obviously, there are brilliant chaps who are destined for bigger things. I mean, obviously, they don't need any advice from me. They are obviously already on the path of glory. But for average hardworking doctor, my advice would be simple, that don't mix up the two. I mean, treating a case, handling a patient consultation skills are totally different ballgame as compared to doing multiple choice questions. So let's not mix up the two and keep focus on the task at hand, which is getting the questions correct. Your eyes should go and lock onto the right answer, even if the questions options are closely matching. That's all I think is what we have tried to focus upon.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for this, sir. Actually, I think most of the doubts of the students have been covered in this. And I guess this would be the last one. And I really thank PrepLadder team to give me again this chance to, talk with my idol who has been teaching medicine since a lot of years.
Thank you.
You would not know, means like everyone in my college and everyone in my residency as well, where I used to see your videos, sir. It was great for me to, talk to you.